Hi, I'm Felipa, and today is day 67 of my year-long reading plan to complete this Bible. So, yesterday, David was mourning and praying for a child that he lost because he ended up defiling and committing adultery with Bathsheba. Today, one of his sons, so he's got a son named Absalom and a son named Amnon, who have a sister named Tamar. And Amnon is in love with her. He calls her to his house. He kicks out all his servants and he forces himself onto her. And she says, please don't. But he's stronger than her. And he, for lack of better words, ends up raping her. And she is besides herself because she's a virgin. And now not only is she no longer a virgin, which is obviously coveted at that point in time in the world and the history, but also because it was her brother who did this, and so then that's incest, and it's not allowed, and it's a sin. And so essentially, Absalom finds out, and he has Amnon killed, and then he ends up escaping and like going to a different place because he knows that he's done wrong by killing his brother. And David is grieving the fact that Absalom has killed Amnon. So in a sense, it's almost as if like David's lost two sons. It says here that Absalom fled and went to Talmai. And David essentially allows Absalom to return to Jerusalem because Joab, the son of Zeruiah, saw that David's heart was, yearning for Absalom and missing him. So he actually, it says, fetches a wise woman, and he gives her this little monologue to tell the king. He tells her to pretend that she's mourning a son that she had lost because his brother had killed him, and how now she's lost the one son because the other killed him, and now she's going to lose the other son because he has sinned and killed his brother. But it's a fake story. David figures it out, and he basically says the Joab put you up to this, and she says yes he did, and he calls Joab out and he says, why did you do this? Joab falls to the ground, bows himself, and essentially thanks the king for giving him grace and not killing him. And Joab's essentially like effort and little scheme and trick works because David actually allows Absalom to return to Jerusalem. Yeah, so it says, so Absalom ended up residing back in Israel. People liked him. He had 3 sons and 1 daughter born. The daughter's name was Tamar, like his sister. And it says Joab brings Absalom into the king's presence. So it says Absalom lived in Jerusalem for 2 full years without seeing the king's face. Absalom sent for Joab to get him to let him see the king, but Joab would not come. He wouldn't come again. And then Absalom sent his servants to Joab's field to go set it on fire, which they did. And then that caused Joab to come down and say, what the heck did you do? And Absalom said, well, I was calling you to try to get you to come here and to try to get me to see the king, but you didn't. And so I had to basically, resort to these drastic measures. And so Joab, ended up going to the king and telling him what had happened. And the king called for Absalom. When he saw the king, his dad, David, he bowed him. It says here, verse 33, he bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king, and the king kissed Absalom. So it sounds like all is forgiven. So tomorrow is day 68, and I move on to chapter 15, where it says Absalom wins the affection of Israel. And I will let you know what I find out there. I'm almost done the book of Samuel, and then we will move on to the book of Kings. Talk to you soon.